Hey, so today you get another video of me tidying my kitchen again. It's always a mess, but I wanted to talk a little bit about recovery. And I wanted to do this because I posted a video on Friday about finding things that are fun for fitness. And then that evening I injured my foot, and I can walk on it now, but it's in a bad way. I'll put a picture on the side here to show you exactly what I mean. And then I thought, I want to get back as quickly as possible, so I need to focus on recovery. How do I do that? And how would other people do it? And I just thought it'd be worth sharing how I've approached recovery in the past. And it starts way before the injury occurs with mobility. So I've injured myself all the time in the past, and the pattern tends to be I injure myself and then I start thinking, I don't want this to happen again. Let's focus on mobility so this doesn't happen again. And then I get into this routine of doing loads of mobility work. I'll do daily drills, stretching routines, dynamic and static stretches, and I'll get into a really good place over a couple of weeks doing mobility. And then the injury will fully go and I'll stop the mobility. It's like a catch-22. So I do all that recovery, the injury fades, and I'm healed. And then I go back to the gym, and a few weeks later I'll injure myself again. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I should never have stopped the mobility drills. And that's really the first thing. So for the last couple of weeks I've been lax. I've not been doing the stretches I do. When I started skateboarding, it had been so long since I'd done it that I was getting aches in certain areas of my legs that I'd not used in a long time. So I started doing daily mobility stretches and like glute bridges, different leg stretches and all the sorts. And it really did help with the skateboarding. And then when the pain stopped and I stopped getting like the DOMs from skateboarding, I stopped doing the stretching shortly after, I injured myself. So it's really the best way to do recovery is to think up front and do mobility work. I'll share a couple of links in the description for some really good apps and tools for mobility. Some are paid, some are free. A lot of it you can get for free if you're willing to just hunt around and look for good content on YouTube and compile a list and save that list for later when you need it. But yeah, do that mobility so that you make recovery a thing you don't actually need to do. But if you do injure yourself, what do? So when I injured my foot, it was at first I thought it was a fracture because it ballooned up so big. It was just a big spongy blob on the side of my ankle. The worst part was it was a proper old man injury. I didn't do it falling off a skateboard, doing some cool trick. I did a run when I was warming up, stepped off the skateboard and rolled the ankle. So unfortunately it wasn't even doing something good. But what I did after that is what is important. So I immediately went to the reception at the place, got a bag of ice, raised it, ice on, stayed there for 20-ish minutes. Then I drove home. Luckily, it was my left foot, automatic car and right foot, so I was fine to drive home. So I drove home and then got home and continued the ice and elevation. And that was kind of the critical aftermath of the injury. When you first injured yourself, don't risk anything, don't test the waters and carrying on what you're doing. Just stop. You've got another day, you've got every other day of your life to try again. I was gutted. It was the first time I'd gone to this indoor centre in the UK. It's amazing. It's called Graystone. It's in Manchester. First time I'd ever been there. I had this list in my head of everything I wanted to do. Immediately I broke the ankle. Session over. There was nothing else I could do about it. It was a shame. A bit of a waste of money. But the place won't shut down. I can go again. There's no point in making my injury last months by trying to continue. So yeah, straight off, get home, ice and elevation for this type of injury, but it all depends on what your kind of injury is. It might be a pull that you can't ice and elevate, but it's all about knowing when to stop. That's the first thing. When do you stop doing the movement? And then when you've stopped doing the movement, you just need to rest. And it's a boring truth. You need to rest it, but in my opinion, when you injure yourself, you need to rest, not stop. Stopping is the worst thing you can do with a lot of things, not everything. I'm not a medical professional, but when you stop, things seize up, things lock up. You need to keep active in a sustainable, manageable way. So I'm not going to be doing any running or skateboarding, but I'm certainly going to be walking around. I'm going to be doing my daily activities in the house. I'm not going to be laying in bed with my foot up because my ankle is all big and swollen. I need to keep the movement in that joint where I comfortably can. Otherwise, I'll just become sedentary for a week, and then when I start moving, I think it'll take longer to build up that recovery from the lack of movement. Like I said again, I'm not a medical professional, but from any injury I've had in the past, recovery is best done slowly, but without stopping. And I've had a few injuries in my past. This is just the latest on my ankle, so there's that one, and then I've had shoulder injuries, especially when it comes to Olympic lifting. It's a big dynamic range, and you can easily have extremely mobile shoulders, and I have osteoporosis in this right shoulder. So the combination of being able to be so mobile backwards on my clean and jerks and snatches, and that where my bones are essentially rubbing together, really creates a lot of friction and pain in that joint now and then. So I've just got to manage that. But that's what it's all about. Like, for this, I'll always do mobility. I'll always make sure that I'm setting myself up for success. And I say this to myself every time. I'm going to start doing mobility now my ankle's gone. I can almost guarantee that in a month, when this ankle is sorted, I'll probably stop again. But it's just knowing that that's what you need to do. It's a start. Like, you need to try and be proactive about it. And a simple way of doing that is when you get to the gym, don't just start doing your workout. Don't sit down at a bench and just start bumping out reps. Do a warm-up, even if it's only a couple of minutes. If you're doing a bench, put your arm up on the wall, stretch back that pec area, get your hands on a barbell on the rack, and just get some movements in there that just open that area up and really give it a stretch. Don't just go straight into it cold, because that's the time where you're just going to sit down, do a bench, something's going to pop. Or in my case, you're going to get on the skateboard in the warm-up area, drop in, roll around, step off, roll the ankle. I could have done that with all the warm-up in the world, but I feel like I would have been more mentally prepared to not do that if I had warmed up. So yeah, if you're not going to do daily mobility, at a minimum, an absolute bare minimum, do a warm-up for your workout. Likewise, do a cool down. I personally wouldn't say it's as important as the warm-up, because the warm-up is going to directly prevent an injury during that session, but a cool down will help the recovery from that session. In short, the best way to prevent injury is before the injury occurs, with mobility drills, warm-ups, and being mindful about what you're doing in that session and not overreaching. If you do injure yourself, the best thing to do is take it easy, rest, do recovery workouts and exercises. Don't stop doing everything. Just be realistic about what you can do during it. Don't make it worse, but do not stop. Stopping's the worst thing you can do. Do you disagree or agree? Please comment. I'd love to hear what you do for recovery, because everybody's different and you might have a silver bullet for your recovery. I'd love to hear it. And please like and subscribe. I think I've had 19 people subscribe to the channel in the last week, which is absolutely massive for me, because I started at I think I had 50 subscribers. Thanks all, and until next time.